Hi, Joe Alton, MD here, also known as Dr. Bones of the survival website doomandbloom.net, co-author of the Book Excellence Award winner in medicine, the 4th edition of the Survival Medicine Handbook, plus designer of quality medical kits at store.doomandbloom.net. In the United States, physicians and other medical providers have the option of diverging from the standard conventional wisdom in many situations. Yes, there's a standard of care, but medicine's an art as well as the science, and medical innovations are often powered outside the box. Recently, however, freedom of medical thought has been under attack, nowhere more so than in the state of California. California's state legislature has taken a harsh view of doctors across the line into alternative treatments, especially when it comes to the current pandemic. A bill passed in June, known as AB 2098, authorizes the state's medical overseers to investigate and punish practitioners who stray for what is called the applicable standard of care, or who spread, quote, disinformation, unquote, regarding the virus. Measures taken may include the revocation of medical licenses on a permanent basis. President Biden had little success recently with his much criticized Misinformation Bureau. California's medical establishment, however, is all in with punishing physicians who offer alternative options to their patients. As a medical doctor, I'm not terribly surprised. The state is a Gordian knot of rules and regulations, and extending the long arm of the law in my profession, well, should, I suppose, be expected. Supervision by medical boards occurs in every state, so why does AB 2098 worry me? Well, at present, AB 2098 specifically mentions the current pandemic, but laws can be easily expanded, however, to include another medical issue, then another, then another. Eventually, an infallible set of standards will exist for everything. If there's a definition of a slippery slope in a medical dictionary, this is it. Just as curtailing free speech is bad for society, passing laws to rein in alternative viewpoints is bad for medicine. Teaching that there's only one way to deal with the problem goes against everything a young physician should learn in medical school. The next medical generation should be taught to be objective. They should be encouraged to question the current conventional wisdom. If doctors didn't have this freedom in the past, medical progress wouldn't have moved at the pace necessary to meet today's challenges. California has granted the right to cancel a provider's right to think freely by creating a censor. Even worse, a censor that can and will ruin careers. West Coast physicians who fail to follow the straight and narrow, they'll suffer the most. In certain communities, dozens of complaints will be entered against perfectly competent and caring practitioners who offer, for example, a politically out-of-favor treatment for COVID. Such complaints will have a chilling effect on young doctors. Those just starting out are going to be reluctant to seek alternative options for patients if it means having to defend themselves in front of a medical board. Well-meaning politicians believe AB 2098 will protect the community against dangerous doctors. I'll admit that some doctors may be incompetent, even negligent. Others may have opinions that aren't supported by hard data or recommend questionable cure-alls. No drug cures everything. Sweeping medical claims should be viewed with skepticism by doctors and by ordinary citizens. A medical board should take action when needed to keep patients safe. What's going on in California, however, is different. The implications can be far-reaching enough to set precedents for other state and national organizations. In the near future, will there be one accepted way to deal with a particular disease and one way only? If the treatment the medical authorities dictate doesn't work, what are physicians to do? The censorship juggernaut has already started. The Federation of State Medical Boards has passed a misinformation policy of their own. They recommend that their members crack down on errant physicians. The CEO of the organization has been quoted in the LA Times as saying, "It's incumbent upon physicians to keep up with what's permissible, what's approved, what's authorized, and what's not." The goal is to exert influence over the entire country's physicians. If you're a heretic, you can expect much more than a slap on the wrist. Many media outlets like the LA Times actually welcome a 1984-style Ministry of Truth. I don't. Being flexible and thinking outside the box should be considered virtues, not flaws that must be stamped out. Crossing into uncharted waters is sometimes needed in medicine. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." I wonder what the medical board in California would say about that. They say there's more than one way to skin a cat. There might, surprise, even be more than one way to treat an illness. They say there's more than one way to skin a cat. There might, surprise, be more than one way to treat an illness. Developing different ways to handle infections, injuries, and chronic illness is the way medicine moves forward. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, thyroid disease. What if we didn't allow new ways of diagnosis and treatment? We'd be stuck medically in the 19th century, and lives would be lost. Ending freedom of thought by our healthcare providers is a mistake, the kind that one day, down the road, will cost us dearly. This is Joe Alton, MD, that old Dr. Bones, wishing you the best of health in good times or bad. Thanks for watching. Hey, fill those holes in your medical supplies by checking out our entire line of kits, individual supplies, books, and USBs at store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.